Nice. Okay. They pretty much have to shield this. Should I go Annihilate here? Imagine if I threw Ice Beam there. I didn't react fast enough. I thought it was going to be a Florges. But it was a Togekiss. Oh, well, they do that too, so I guess we're fine. Flamethrower? I mean, if they have Dazzling Gleam, I just... GG's. Okay, cool. Don't do this to me! Oh my gosh. That was close. With that boost. I had to stay vigilant and just go for the Fairy Wind down. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today we'll be talking about a Master League Premier team that I actually used last season, but by the time I kind of got it working, it was the rotation was pretty much over. So I want to release it for you all this rotation, so that's why my elo's a lot higher than you would probably expect. I have not hit Legend yet, but again, this is from last season, and there really hasn't been any changes in the meta. Maybe Gudra is probably the only real meta difference in Master League, but I personally haven't even run into any this season, so we'll see if it's actually that impactful. But the team I ran was a Florges with a Nihilape and a Feraligatr, and I actually ran Ice Punch on my Nihilape just to have a little bit better coverage against Dragonite counter swaps, and then I had my Feraligatr, which actually wasn't even fully powered up yet because I was short on XL candies, but so even under level stuff can work, and I best buddy my Florges because it was the only thing that was ready, but honestly, I think it was a pretty good best buddy option. I think the second best option is probably Annihilate, just so that you win charge attack priority in the mirror. Overall, it was a really successful team for me, and there's a few core breakers, primarily Skeledirge, but I can't remember if I faced any, but I'll tell you how I play around that. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. In these battles, I believe I recorded 2 straight sets. It's either 2 or 3 sets, but we'll see how it goes. Against other fairies, you just stay in this matchup. I bait here, I think because out of some of my matches, I noticed that a lot of people were shielding. But looks like they actually swap over to their Rhyperior. Double super effective is going to be that Hydro Cannon. So going to be pretty good. And they go straight for the Rock Wrecker, which is would have done a lot of damage. I am running Ice Beam on this Feraligatr. Again, just for some better Dragonite and Dragon coverage overall. You don't really need Crunch for a lot, just because Hydro Cannon does plenty, even to Metagross. And then, you know, Hydro Cannon just so good, even for resisted, as you can see, chunking a huge amount of health off this Primarina. I'm down a shields, but they have the Ursaluna in the back. And so I was kind of expecting them to try to bait out the Annihilate / Fighter, which is why I decided to come in Feraligatr into the Rhyperior rather than the Annihilate. And of course, super effective Ice Punch here is going to be pretty nice as well. Primarily, I did have it for Dragonites, but this is also a good case usage for it too. I think a lot of people tend to run Night Slash, or it's kind of like a mix, but I found that Ice Punch is still pretty solid. And then we take them out here. I would say overall my team was pretty strong into theirs, especially in the back end, so we'll see if we face any harder matchups, but of course Florges, fantastic in Master League Premier, even against some of his bad matchups, not that great. So we do see a Skeledirge, but luckily for us, it's actually going to be in the back. So I get my Feraligatr on it, because otherwise the whole team's pretty... The Annihilate and the Florges are pretty weak to it, especially without Night Slash. And then at this point in time, it's pretty good for me. I should be able to tank the... it ends up being the Storm Voice, but even Shadow Ball should be fine. And of course, we have the hard-hitting Ice Beam. If they come in Dragonite, this is going to be a tough time for them. And it looked like they did, I think. Yeah, they did. Then I'm shielding, which is really good for me because I have a matchup that walls off the Dragonite, assuming they don't have Hydro Cannon. So them being down a shield now is pretty nice. And of course, we have another matchup where we kind of hard counter them. So Going to be pretty solid here. I am baiting in case they shield and they end up shielding. It's a pretty safe bait, I think, because most will probably shield, recognize this is their only win con. And then let's see if we can take the meter mash or not. This is a fully powered up Annihilate, but not best buddied, and we barely survive. So clearly the bait was definitely necessary here, and then they're going to quit out. All right, Chesnaught. We don't see this super often, but I've been seeing maybe some of it here or there. This is going to be overall kind of annoying to deal with because, yes, they're taking super effective Fairy Wind damage, and I have super effective moves for it, but it can hit back at everything on my team. Super effective against the Feraligatr, and then also just has neutral play into the other stuff. And they end up no shielding, which is kind of wild. I was not expecting that. I might swap out here if they decide to stay in. Yeah, so they stay in, and I try to catch Frenzy Plants, which I believe I do. Not too bad. And then we draw out the Gyarados, which is kind of what we want to draw as well. Another good reason why Annihilate is a good safe swap, because you clear the way for the Feraligatr to potentially sweep. Feraligatr is not the strongest in Master League, mainly because there is a CP cap, and it just doesn't have the stats value to compare to some of the pseudo-legendaries and just the hard, bulkier Pokemon in Master League. So it doesn't hit as hard, but it also doesn't tank as well. However, I like the pacing of it. And unfortunate charge attack priority, but I wasn't going to overfarm by too much here anyway. And then I actually swap in. And then they have the Excadrill in the back, which is going to be fantastic for me. I think we'll just double up. So we're really catching some really good team comps with this team. Might have been part of the reason why I did pretty well with it. But yeah, okay, they barely survive. Wow. Like I said, Feraligatr just doesn't hit hard enough. Again, mine is a little under level. I think I'm like short by like 1 level. So it's not really that far off from the maxed out variants. As you can see, all these Hydro Cannons raining down on the opponents. And yeah, I go for the Fairy Wind down. All right, another Dragonite lead. Always great to see. Let's see what they come in with. They come in with a Chandelure, the other Ghost Fire, the original Ghost Fire before Skeldur's dropped. I always have to shield the potential Shadow Ball because it's going to do a lot of damage. But the pacing is really fast on Feraligatr, so even if you shield and match shields, you just generally outpace. And then, of course, you have the Ice Beam. You can always bait, but it's just not really worth it when you have a hard wall matchup with the Florges as well. So if you take them out, great. If not, you grab a shield at the minimum, so you kind of maintain the advantage you have. All right, in comes Florges. They should throw the energy. I mean, this potentially could be a Hurricane, but most don't run it. They run Superpower. I figure they're going to swap. And again, another Metagross in the back. Let's see if this time I go for the bait or not. It looks like I'll go for the bait yet again. I should probably be careful if I make this too predictable if I face the same opponents. But we know how this goes. And we're going to shield up here. Get to the Shadow Ball. And yeah, this time I think it's much faster on the swap, so they couldn't really get to a second one. And of course, they're going to throw a move here, but it's pretty much over. So yeah, team looking pretty good so far. Obviously, Skeldur's lead. Honestly, I think if you do run to Skeldur's lead, I'd probably stay in with the Florges. You're taking neutral damage, right? It's nothing super effective at least, and you can hit back with resisted, but you just want to chip it down because you don't really want the Annihilate on it. I don't recall if I actually faced a Skeldur's lead or not in this set of videos, or even at all, just because Skeldur's not the most common pick. But this person's using Waterfall, which is not nearly as threatening to the rest of my team. So I'm going to swap over to Feraligatr. Typically, I swap in the Annihilate, but this time around, I just swap in the Feraligatr. I mean, it's also a decent safe swap, all things considered. Everything's resisted on the Primarina, so I assume they're probably not going to shield. But I just really need to take this out. And so if I take this out here, I actually get switch advantage, which is kind of nice. And they let it go. I'm a little worried. Okay, I thought it was going to be like double charm deck. I've seen triple fairy with Waterfall Primarina, and that's definitely a pain for this team. For probably a lot of people, actually. Oh, we get to another Hydro Cannon, which is huge. I'm a little worried what they have in the back because this thing's fairly neutral. But I think I'm going to go just for a straight counter. So yeah, big no shield. Yeah, really nice no shield. Oh yeah, it's going to be another Rhyperior. And there we go. 5-0 in this first set. Like I said, this is from last season, but I was just under the 3K mark. So these are definitely some really solid players. And you can see it works against Yeah, some of the best of best. All right, another Rhyperior Safe Swap. This looks like it's going to be a breaking swipe, so I'm just going to let it go. They might know some tech that I don't, such as they're able to just flip switch like this. And let's see if that's what happens. Yeah, it looks like that might be what they're going for. But they go for another move, which is good for me. Even though I'm debuffed, this is still pretty much going to one-shot. So I just need to get to another Hydro Cannon. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. I stand corrected. This is going to be interesting because now I lose switch advantage. And yeah, this Rhyperior is actually much stronger than I expected. Not sure what the plan is. Yeah, I think I just come and Annihilate. I get denied a counter, but not the end of the world. Rock Wrecker is going to be resisted. I think they just went for the blind Rock Wrecker, which is pretty nice for me. And, ooh, this is not ideal. I have some play, for sure, into this. But I think if you're running a Vine Whip, it's a little bit better. I'm just going to shield up in case I get a debuff on this next Moonblast. So I'll take a little bit less damage. But my win con is really just getting this Florges onto the Primarina. It's going to be kind of tough, though. I think I have to just farm this down. Because if I throw a move, it doesn't really do much for me. And I think I had to throw because they were just about to get to a move. So, unfortunately, I still throw the energy here. Why did I swap over here? I don't really remember. But I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. Let's see. Yeah, they get to move. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to win that one. The moment I gave switch advantage. So, well played by them. So, learning lesson is shield everything on the, what do you call it? On the Feraligatr. Even if it's just breaking swipe, which is a little unfortunate. But, like I said, it's not the most bulky Pokemon in this format. And then, because they tanked the Moonblast, I'm just going to come in Feraligatr. No shield, probably a Disarming Voice. Does some decent damage, but nothing crazy. And then they go for the Night Slash, which is pretty nice. Because then I could just know I live it, and then I get both Hydro Cannon off, which is pretty good too. My own Annihilate is also not the best into theirs, just because I don't have Night Slash. So just wanted to maintain this alignment, which is going to be pretty good. And I think this is another Night Slash. So we're making a lot out of this matchup for sure. And then between, if they have Skeldurge in the back, I just lose. But ends up not being the Skeldurge, and yeah. There we go. Yeah, so, I mean, the Florges and Annihilate core is very, very strong. Like I said, on the outside of Skeldurge and Chandelure, there's not really too much that core breaks it. Okay, so they come in Skeldurge. I safe swap my Feraligatr. It looks like I'm changing my safe swap a little bit here or there. This is not a great matchup for sure. This thing's going to resist everything I have outside the Shadow Claw. We do get one parting Hydro Cannon off, which is nice. But my guess is they have an Annihilate counter in the back. So I already know I'm probably going to be in a tougher matchup for that final matchup for the Annihilate. But let's take a look and see. I think I'm just going to overfarm a little bit just because I can dish out some damage with the Florges, but nothing's that consequential. Okay, ends up being Dragonite. This is going to be interesting for sure because the Ice Punch is not enough to KO the Dragonite. Unfortunately, again, Master League, so everything is bulkier, especially the pseudo legendaries. But also, we have 2 shields apiece, so this could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, they are getting quite a bit of energy, and they have a ton of health. I think I just need to land this Ice Punch and maybe go for the Fairy Wind down. However, the problem there is, oh, okay, interesting, okay. I don't know if this is the right play or not, but let's see if we can pull this off. It'd be pretty impressive if I do. I think I should have stayed in Annihilate maybe and took the energy. Oh yeah, I misplayed this one. Yeah, I think if I just countered down, I would have been fine. Because imagine this, I just got one more counter, right? So I think I just panic swapped it a little bit. But they were going for the drill run too, right? So, actually no, I don't. Yeah, I think I might be able to win that one. I don't know, it was super close. But that was given a bad lead as well, too. I think overall we were able to play it out decently. Gengar, not something you see very often. Costume Gengar on top of that, too. But we do have the Feraligatr. Super effective Shadow Claw is really going to start chewing through this Gengar. And yeah, Gengar's also, I guess, a core breaker for this team, but not something you really see much. So just something to note. But this Primarina is pretty low already, which is nice. Because My guess is they have Primarina in the lead and Gengar in the back. They're probably weak to Annihilate. And they're not, actually. It's going to be a Chandelure, so this is actually pretty bad for me. So here's a Core Breaker with both the Florges and Annihilate left. Let's see how I play this out. I think I have to let the potential Flame Charge go. No, I shield the Poltergeist. Okay, good call previous Caleb. But I think I was going to just let that go myself. Wow, and they no shield the potential Shadow Ball, which is kind of nuts. But now they're forced to shield the Ice Punch, which is fine. I think if I just put this down in Fast Stack territory, I should be okay. They go for the Flame Charge. Oh, almost cost them, but not quite. My Feraligatr could get like one nice... ooh, I got denied. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, they went for a Flame Charge though, so we should be okay. I was going to say I could still get some Shadow Claw damage off, but no need. So, taking out the Fire Ghost by committee, but still worked out. Obviously, Skeldurge is a little bit bulkier, but you can see my best buddy, I think, is coming in handy here because I am going with Charge Attack priority into this Florges. I talked about this in my Dialga video, but Florges is also a functional hundo if you have a 15-15-14, which is what I have. You don't lose any HP in that situation. This Thunderfangs really took me off guard. I was not expecting this. But yeah, I think that's this. I might be throwing here a little bit. I just wasn't patient. I just saw the Hippowdon, or maybe that's just the typing. We get to back Hydro Cannon though, which is kind of nice. So we force both shields. And I think my play is just coming back in. Oh no, I come in with Annihilate. Okay. They have Scorching Sands, which Shadow still does a decent amount. Ooh, we get the attack drop too. I have the Ice Punch though, and again, some benefit for sure because super effective. And then I'm going to come back in with the Florges. I don't really have much health left, but they end up going Weather Ball. Okay, this is going to be an interesting match for sure. This still feels pretty winnable, but it's going to be interesting. Probably Breaking Swipe, so I'm just going to let it go. Trying to save my shields. Oh, it's Surf, but we tanked the Surf, surprisingly. Much better than I expected. And I get to another... Oh, and they get the attack drop. I'm not sure what's going on, why they stopped tapping there. Maybe they want some energy on their Florges. That's a good strategy for sure. But I think I'm going to just try to get as close as much energy as possible. They come in to try to catch, not able to. So, looked a little precarious there when we had the Feraligatr on the Thunderfangs. What do you call it? Hippowdon. But, yeah, still able to make it a 3-2. So, going positive in this second set. Oh, looks like we have a third set. All right, fantastic. Let's see how this one wraps up. It's going to be another Ursaluna, but it's going to be Shadow this time. I say swap the Annihilate. Looks like a kind of small Florges, but... XXL or XXS, but you can see Shadow Ball doing a decent amount of damage. And of course, here's where Ice Punch is also a nice little niche strategy, is that you could chip it down with the Ice Punch, whereas you can't really chip it down with Night Slash, right? You have to go kind of for the Shadow Ball or go for a true bait and hope you grab the shield. Whereas if they let that go, it's actually not too bad. So at this point in time, I didn't want to really double shield. They do land the Moonblast, so I think we're gonna go for aggressive Fairy Wind down. Pretty nervous though, because my guess is that they have something that counters water in the back. I think I just decided to throw because I was just way too low on energy. Okay, it's an Annihilate. Not too bad. We saw earlier how little Hydro Cannon does in Master League compared to like Great League and Ultra League, but it still chunks quite a bit. And I end up shielding. Ends up being the Shadow Ball, which is good. They might have Ice Punch too, so it's kind of even riskier bait for them to go Ice Punch for resisted damage. No, it looks like maybe it's actually just Night Slash. Yeah, they have Night Slash here. Okay, so we're going to get this Hydro Cannon off. The question is, can we get to move before this Ursaluna does? No, not quite. I think this is going to be a loss right here, but kind of a tough one, but it's what it is. Okay, Torterra. Man, I'm like blanking on the names of some of these Pokemon because we see it so infrequently. But Race Leaf Torterra is definitely a choice. They come in with a Charmer here. I think I'm going to go... this looks like it's going to be a fast attack pressure team. And they no shield. So, let's go and just keep going for a Disarming Voice. And now I come in with the Feraligatr. Taking only just neutral damage here. And because they're probably fast attack pressure oriented, I'm just going to shield. Ends up being a Moonblast, which is kind of wild. I just expected a Disarming Voice. Torterra does take neutral, at least from Hydro Cannon, because that ground subtyping as well. So it's actually not the worst matchup for me, especially with energy already loaded on my Feraligatr. And Charge Attack Priority, even better. I wasn't even planning for that, but we get it, and ends up being Sand Tomb, of course. Going to come in with the Annihilate, and they quit out. So we have no idea what's in the back. Might have been a Rhyperior. That would probably... I don't know. That team's like very funky. It's really weak into Metagross lead, so not really sure. But we catch Dragonite. Let's see how much Ice Punch this does. Not as much. You can see the opponent is very familiar with it. I end up no shielding. I think because I know I can get to another move. Yeah, and so I can force a shield from them, and I can just farm down with Fairy Wind because Florges has play into the Rhyperior, so it's not a big deal if I don't have switch advantage. It just more so depends on what they have as their final Pokemon. But I can tank this energy pretty well. And like I saw earlier too, right? If I go down shields, like Feraligatr can still struggle into Rhyperior with energy. It's a Annihilate. We saw how this match played out before. Probably going to be a bait, so I'm just going to no shield. And yeah, ends up being a bait with Ice Punch. Like I said, baiting with Ice Punch is risky, and we see the risk play out there. Going to go for a back-to-back Hydro Cannon. And I assume they probably spend their... No, they don't even shield. Okay. We're in a pretty good spot, I think. Unfortunately, I can't really get to 2 Hydro Cannons, so I'm going to swap out right here because I don't really want to get permanently debuffed. And also just have something in back potentially for later. They go straight Rock Wrecker. Was not expecting that. They probably just hoping to get it through both shields, but yeah, because I no shielded earlier. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because I no shielded the Ice Punch earlier, Ice Punch bait from the Annihilate, so they're thinking, man, maybe this guy just doesn't shield. But I made the right shield call there, which worked out. And yeah, we take a win there. All right, another Primarina. Like I said, this meta is just really small. It's just kind of like open Master League as well. So it's good because you're learning your matchups pretty well and kind of strategize around it. Oh, one other core break I forgot to mention is Magnezone. I was able to beat a few, but it is not the easiest into a Florges lead with a Feraligatr in back. Hydro Cannon does do still a decent chunk of damage. All right, we get the full Shadow Claw down at the cost of 1 shield. Definitely worthwhile in my opinion because we avoid the Primarina against the Annihilate. This is also Waterfall Primarina, so it's even worse into the Feraligatr. So getting a lot out of this matchup for sure. If you have a Hundo Shadow Feraligatr or close to it, that could be pretty good as well because the extra damage would be nice. Oh, here's a Magnezone, but this is exactly where we want to see it. So it's going to work out pretty well here. I end up no shielding a Wild Charge. I think I was just trying to see how much damage it does. I don't know. But yeah, able to get the full counter down, which is nice. And able to optimize as well. And I probably should have done the oh no, okay, I was gonna say I should have just done the Shadow Box. I don't survive another Waterfall, but I do, so I get some nice chip damage. And then yeah, at this point, like I don't think my Florges took any damage. Yeah, it's still full health, so we're in a very commanding position here for sure. Yeah, they're gonna quit out. All right, Garchomp. Don't see a ton of Garchomp these days, but love to see it, especially against the Florges. Both my Pokemon in the back have play into it, so it's not the end of the world if I don't win switch here. Because they might just have like a Steel in the back for the Florges, or maybe even a Fire. But it looks like I am going to shield as well their Moonblast, and I get debuff, which is really unfortunate. Let's see what happens here, because I should theoretically just straight up lose this. Alright, so I'm going to swap out to my Feraligatr. Going to shield the potential Moonblast, and it's going to be that. I'm down all these shields, but at the end of the day, like I said, I still have a lot of play into the Garchomp if they come into this. They pretty much have to shield the Ice Beam, or just get taken out with one shot. Oh, they have Magnezone. Okay. Again, we see the Core Breaker, but we can see how much damage this Hydro Cannon does. They might shield it. This is actually kind of bad for me because let's see how much energy they come out with. Oh, okay. They let me get to both, which is nice. But one Wild Charge is going to do a lot of damage to my Annihilate. And they're forced to throw the energy. I think they might have been able to get away with it, the Voltage down. I'm not sure. But yeah, this Wild Charge is going to do a lot of damage, but not super worried. And they're going to quit out. And so, yeah, we go 4-1 in this third set. So, again, 5-0, 3-2, 4-1. Pretty good, getting back over that 3K mark ELO from last season. So, if you end up using the team, let me know how it goes. And best of luck for everyone still climbing this season. But yeah, as always, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content. Hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. And maybe I'll see some of you in New York. All right. Peace out.